Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, Meguro31. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Able to stay dry. East Coast wreaked havoc on games, on weather, on the NASCAR race. Looks like today the sun's out and it's going to be a lot nicer. So got a nice 6-game slate here. Nothing, no great pitchers, some good hitting situations, only a couple mild weather concerns. As always, when I start off the week, who plays Soler. Just keep in mind with the doubleheader today with the Mets and Atlanta, that the lock will be around noon, and that Atlanta and the Mets both have 5 games apiece this week. And one of them, one of them gets Detroit and one of them gets Miami. So the back half of it after the doubleheader are good matchups. And I know the Braves and Mets are pretty expensive, but there's some cheap pieces like Murphy the catcher. Their DRNO shouldn't be back until the end of this week. So, there's a nice piece there. And Milwaukee is in Coors this week coming up. So we got that to look forward to. I think William Contreras, the catcher, is like under $5. So there's a cheap piece for you also. And then what else do we have for you? The Cubs are in playing Oakland, and anybody against Oakland's almost like playing in Coors Field. So just some teams to keep an eye on if you're playing that. So this Monday slate here should, it's a normal start time at like 7:05, and again we have 6 games going on. And let me just switch windows because why that one just crashed there. Okay, so first game we have is the Guardians and the New York Yankees. Now looks like there's a 20% chance of rain at first pitch and maybe 40% chance. So we just need to keep an eye on that. I don't think it's going to be too threatening. I think it'll be perfectly fine. Wind blowing out Yankee Stadium 10 miles per hour. So that definitely helps batters. You have Qual Cantrell against Domingo Germán. Cantrell, yes, the Yankees, we've been targeting him recently. Yes, they had an abysmal series against Texas. Judge is probably still out. Stanton's still out. Donaldson's still out. So there are some strikeouts in this lineup, and they're not as good as they are full strength, but Quad Cantrell doesn't really strike anybody out. So not super interested in him in cash. If you're a small slate, GPP, definitely, in your play pool, probably 10% or less. Domingo Germán, Cleveland doesn't strike out a ton. They don't have a ton of power. I think Jose Ramirez is probably the one that I would focus on the most. Naylor and Bell can hit home runs at times, but the rest of this team is more like contact and run. So, are they going to single and steal you to death? Potentially. But so there's like Rosario's really cooled off. He's been a disappointment this year. Jimenez has been okay, but he's hitting further on down the lineup. And, so I guess, Germán with not many options at 8-7 is going to be in play here. I don't think he's going to have a lot of ownership because I think there's like 2 or 3 other pitchers in this range that a lot of people are going to gravitate to more based on recent form, not like looking at the context of the whole year. So bat-wise, Cleveland, I mean, GPP stack here. Again, I'd focus on just the lefties. So Juan, J-Ron, Jose Ramirez would be great, if not just a one-off. Naylor should be, okay, or Bell. Like you have to choose one of them on DK because they're both first base eligible, and then Jimenez. And then I really wouldn't go like much further on with that. Don't think you want to full stack them unless it's a GPP, and I don't think it's really a cash stack I'd be looking at. And the Yankees on the same thing here. Rizzo, maybe Calhoun, DJ LeMahieu, and Torres have hit righties and lefties pretty well. Volpe, if he can get on, can like steal a base. So nothing super excites me here with the Yankees. So again, I think both these teams are just kind of GPP plays here, and kind of especially maybe with the mild weather concern. So moving on to the next game, we have the Cubs and the Nationals in Washington D.C. Wind blowing out 12 miles per hour, which helps, but it's not as much as if it was in Wrigley Field. You have Drew Smyly and Mackenzie Gore. Drew Smyly's been great form recently. So, I really like him here against a weak Washington lineup that doesn't have any power. So definitely in consideration for your SP1 on FanDuel. He's priced up a little bit there, or like definitely an SP2 at 7-8 here on DK, or maybe you're going to take two like cheaper pitchers today and load up on bats because there's some pretty expensive stacks in some great places. Mackenzie Gore on the other side, again, I keep on saying like he's got a lot of potential. He was a really key part of the Juan Soto trade. Washington really wanted him because they know the potential. He is giving up runs, but he does have the strikeouts there also. And the Cubs do have some strikeouts in this lineup. So, could he give up 3 home runs, but still have like 8 to 10 strikeouts and, pay off his price at 8.1K? Definitely. So it's somebody definitely to also consider. Bat wise, like the Cubs is my probably second favorite GPP stack here. I don't know why I have the Dodgers twice here. Somebody must have fallen off. Well, when we get to them, we'll put them in there though. So, but Cubs are definitely the second favorite GPP stack here, and the Nationals would just be like a cheap stack. But again, they don't have a ton of power. But if you want to throw like Hall, Candelario, Menses, who hopefully gets going at some point, Ruiz is usually a cheap catcher. I mean, he's 3.2 here. So there's some pieces that you can throw in if you need a last person in cheap in your lineup. Blue Jays and Red Sox, 10.5 total here. Berrios and Kluber. It's not because the pitchers are horrible. Like Berrios started off the season not too good, but he's rounded into form a little bit better recently. But Boston doesn't strike out a ton, and they have got a lot of lefties. So I think he's definitely in play here in cash, and I think he'll have some popularity. But with the wind blowing out 14 miles per hour is Fenway, 57 degrees, which isn't like super blazing hot, but it's definitely a situation where potentially it could be a good hitting environment. Kluber on the other side is just not a good pitcher, so definitely he's on my fade list here. Remember, he's more of like kind of a reverse splits guy, so love the righties here, and that's pretty much what all Toronto has. So favorite stack on the slate, expensive. You have to see if I think you get 3 of the 4 big bats in. If you are paying down for both pitchers and taking a value stack to fill in or cheap one-offs, then I think you can get them in. Especially like Biggio is slated to potentially be in the lineup too, and he's only like 2-1 in at second base and outfield eligibility. So that always helps out too. Brandon Belt's really cheap also, although you probably want Vlad at first over Belt, unless Vlad for some reason gets the day off. So many different ways to stack them to get them in and make it work. Boston on the other side, I really like, is probably my favorite cheap stack. If Berrios like reverts back to where he was, like Verdugo, Yoshida, Devers is probably a top play on the slate here. Between he and J-Rom and Chapman, you've got a lot of great options at third base there. Cassis like hitting in the 5th or 6th spot, first base at 2.4 is great, and Duran's just been hot since they've called him up also at 3.3. So there's so many left-handed batters here. Even like Valdez doesn't really light the world on fire, but if you need a cheap bat at a second base there and Biggio's not in, like he's somebody you can throw in and do maybe like a wraparound stack for that. So next up, we have San Francisco and Houston. We have San Francisco coming off of the Mexico City games where like everybody's hitting home runs, or the first game I think there's like 27 runs and then it weren't as many yesterday because the wind started blowing in a little bit. But they face Houston here. Stripling and not interested in at all. I guess even though Houston's been struggling, I think this is a great spot for them. Their bullpen's taxed. Stripling's only gone like 3 innings most of the time, so definitely 100% fade for me, even on a small slate. And Garcia on the other side, I think is to be the top pitcher on the slate because San Francisco has struggled other than when they went out to the Mexico City game. And sometimes when people come off cores or come off situations where it's a really good hitting environment, like their muscle memory, they try to do the same thing, but the ball's not going to carry as far. And, where they should be trying to hit for like contact or try to just like move a runner, they're swinging with more power just because, in the last couple of games, they're able to hit the ball further. And unless they can have the discipline to realize that, then potentially, this is a great opportunity for Garcia to go out there. He's solid in his last start. I know he's had some struggles this year, but looked really good in his last start. And I think this is another good matchup for him. It'll probably be the chalk pitcher on both DK and FanDuel, and he's actually the second. I think Lou Weaver is the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel, which we'll get to him in the next game. So So Houston is probably my second favorite stack on the slate. I don't know if I'd get a full stack in them, maybe like four of them, like Pena, Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker. Like Abreu's not been great. I mean, Durbin's cheap leading off at 3-6, but I think, there's some other pay down options at second base that are like dirt cheap. Will help me get another better stack in there. Maldonado, a catcher, might be one of the best options here at 2-1. Probably one of the cheapest catchers you're going to find there. And if you want a punt catcher, then you could do like kind of the wraparound, do like 9, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your 5-person Houston stack. San Francisco, I'll definitely play as leverage here, especially if they have so many lefties here. Just keep in mind, like you want them in a GPP because they have like such pinch hit risk later on in the game. So like Wade, like he had a couple of home runs out there. Peterson's back, Conforto, Sabel, who continue to like a catcher there. And then, some of the righties like Hager's hit well since he's come off the disabled list. So I think maybe we'll just have to keep a watch on the San Francisco team. And maybe with these bats back in the lineup, they're not going to be as bad as they have been previously. So we'll keep an eye on that. Next game up, we have Cincinnati and the San Diego Padres. So we have Luke Weaver and Blake Snell. Luke Weaver's his second, and this will be his third start after coming off the IL. Guy's got a ton of potential. Really like him going forward. I know in each start he gave up like I think it was like 3 runs in each, but he had like 8 strikeouts also. So I mean, it's kind of like the same situation as Gore, but I think Weaver's a much better pitcher. So at 7K against a Padre team, again, that has some strikeouts, that really was underperforming until you sent them. I mean, they're starting to click a little bit, and the potential is always there for them. But, until they went out to Mexico City, and it could be the same thing where, the ball's not going to travel as much. And, if they're used to, and we see this all the time as teams coming off their first game after Coors Field, there's kind of hitting letdown. So, I think that definitely could happen. And I think Weaver is definitely somebody in the lower range that you really want to take advantage of here. As like an SP2, or definitely, somebody look at it in GPPs. I'm probably not playing him on FanDuel, being the most expensive pitcher on the slate. I don't understand that. There's got to be something really, goofy going on with that algorithm to have that happen like that. But let me just confirm that, because I truly believe that. No, sorry, Gore is the most expensive pitcher on the slate. So yeah, okay, sorry. Let me take that back here. Weaver's great play on FanDuel. He's 7-8. But like Mackenzie Gore, like at 10-5, that's absolutely insane to pay that much against Chicago. Unless they're if the game was in Wrigley Field and it was the B team Chicago lineup and the wind was blowing in at 28 miles per hour, then I would say I would pay 10.5K for Mackenzie Gore on FanDuel, but absolutely not. No interest whatsoever here for that. So sorry, back to what we were talking about, Luke Weaver and Blake Snell on the other side. I think he's going to be very popular. Like Cincinnati has power at times, but they're better in the Great American Small Park. They did play the A's, and they put up some runs, but not as many as I thought they would. So, but he's a lefty. They can throw a lot of righties here. India, Steer, Fairchild, Stevenson, Ramos has been good recently. Newman's been good recently with fly balls and potential, even though he hits further on down the lineup. If for some reason he moves up further up into the lineup, is not hitting 6, then I like him. But again, it's a shortstop, which is sometimes a punt position if you're not playing Bichette there, or Diaz, I believe, from Houston. Then, or sorry, Pena from Houston. Then you want to maybe consider him in there, and Ramos is cheap as a switch hitter in the outfield at 2.6. So Blake Snell, I think, is solid here. And again, I think a lot of lineups will start with like Garcia and Snell, have 3 Toronto bats, and then fill in with like some value ones from like Boston, Cincinnati, or Washington, or maybe even San Francisco. No, it wouldn't be San Francisco, because they'd be batting against them. So, or Cincinnati. So, but anyway, so it'd probably be Boston or Washington. that we'd be looking at there. So Snell will be popular. I don't not sure much thoughts on him in cash, but GPP, I'm fine with it. And Weaver, I definitely like. Bat wise, Cincinnati is cheap to a leverage stack against Snell, and then the Padres, I think, go down the line as the GPP play just because of the bats potentially just coming off, Weaver being a good pitcher and like not knowing how the bats are going to react after being out there. Okay, now I know which team I'm missing. I'm missing Philly. So I put the Cubs up here and I put Philly right here because they have been hitting well a little bit, but Houston cooled them off last night. So final game. And now I didn't even see like there was a weather alert on this, but it only looks like a 36% chance of rain here. Philly and the Dodgers. Usually you don't have too much rain in California. Wind blowing up 10 miles per hour. And as I would always say in like San Francisco and Oakland and Dodgers, like in California, the wind blowing out really doesn't aid the ball as much as it does in like Chicago or Fenway or New York City or Coors or things like that. So you have Taijuan Walker. I'm not interested in against this Dodger team. He's lucky to still be in the league as with his struggles and his injuries and everything. And then Gosselin on the other side, like brought him back. I think he had like an ankle injury or something like that. So he should be up to like 85 pitches here. But again, these Dodgers pitchers sometimes like May and Gosling and like some of the other ones in the previous years, like kind of like Detroit, they like kind of manage their own guys and don't let them be out there that long. So for 6'8", I think if he gets out there and does what he needs to do against the Phillies, who sometimes can struggle, it'll be perfectly fine. Like the Phillies only have a 3.88 implied run total. But then on the flip side of it, looking at the bats, like the Philly bats, I think, are a GPP play, but the Dodgers look like another strong lineup to try to get in there. And again, they're expensive, but if you move to like the center of the lineup here, like Hayward at 2.5, usually batting fifth is decent, and Outman at 4.4 is decent, and some of the cheaper guys towards the bottom. You could do like a mini stack of the Dodgers if you leave off, like even if you go like start with Muncy at 4.9, which is kind of pricey, but then go with like Hayward, Outman, Vargas, Peralta, something like that. You can definitely make, or I think I really like these Dodgers more like kind of like as a fill-in. So maybe take your choice and take like a Freeman or Betts or Muncy as like a key piece, and then throw the other cheaper Dodger bats in there. So what we got for you. So let's look at some lineup builds for you here. So like I said, in cash and going to be Garcia. Your SP2 allowed to take Snell. Barrios would make sense if you're stacking Blue Jays, because if they hit, then he has a good chance for the win. I don't think you can get up to German there, but like Smiley, I like Gore on DK. Weaver, I really like also. Those are probably the ones. Gosling is cheap if you need the savings, but that's where I'd pretty much concentrate on there. So catcher, just decide if Kirk or whoever is going to be in there hitting. You'll probably throw right in there since the pitcher and Kluber's a reverse splits guy. So it could be Jensen, it could be Kirk there. So they're an option. Maldonado cheap if you really want to punt somebody. Works also. Vlad Biggio, I hope in the lineup because he makes a lot of things work. If he's not, then again, I might just have to punt catcher to make it work. Third base, you're going to have to make a decision here if you want Chapman to pay out for him. I'm stacking Boston kind of as a game stack, just with the wind blowing out there and just the totals. And if you're not using Barrios as your SP2, I kind of question if he's solid there. So, some of these left-handed batters look really good. So Verdugo's going in my stack. If you want to save some money, you throw Duran in there also as a way to build. But I think in DK, I'm going like a game stack of Toronto and Boston, taking Garcia, and I'm probably going to go like Smiley or Weaver as my SP2. For cash for FanDuel, Garcia or Barrios, I like both of them. It just depends on how much salary you want. The difference is Garcia's 9.6 and Barrios is 8.8, so you're saving $800 on that. And Vlad, Bichette, Springer, and then I'm putting the Dodgers in here. So Hayward or Outman, decide if you can get up to, if you want to play like Muncy or Chapman as your other guy, and then I'll leave it up to you to finish off the stack. If you do play Berrios, you're going to have to take a one-off in probably your utility, or like I said, there's some great punt candidates at second base. For your GPP, for DK, I'm taking Berrios, and then I'm going Cincinnati. I'm going to target Snell and Houston. So Stevenson here, first base. Decide if you want to go with Abreu, which just hasn't been great, or Cincinnati. Do they have a first base eligible? Yes, Steer can be, and he's rather cheap too, usually at 3K. India at third base here. Decide if you want Bregman, or you can play Steer there also, or Senzel actually at 2.5 has had some hot hitting times, or even Matt Reynolds is back too, and he was hitting fifth yesterday. I think he's 2K like minimum price on DK, so there's another option for you. So Pena, Alvarez, Tucker, and then decide like Fairchild's really cheap at 2.3 in the outfield. So you should be able to get some decent bats, but that's how I'm building with that one. And then on FanDuel, I'm going to take Snell as a pitcher because Boston and Houston pair really nicely together. So first base, again, decide if you want Cassis, if you want Abreu, if you want to just take a one-off, or go for the catcher there, Maldonado, or the Boston catcher. Like there's a lot of different options there. Second base, again, I probably wouldn't play Kiki there. Maybe Arroyo if he's there cheap, or somebody as just a one-off punt to get some of these better bats in the lineup. But Devers, Pena, Alvarez, Tucker, decide if you want Verdugo or Duran. And then utility spot, there's so many different ways to go. You could play Duran there with Verdugo. You could play Yoshi there. You could play Bregman there. And you just have to pay down at first and second base. So just so many ways to finish that off. And like I said, also, I'm probably going to consider having a Cubs stack out there too, and a San Francisco stack for leverage. And they actually paired pretty well in the FanDuel GPP and got me a decent pitcher. So that's kind of a third option for you. So appreciate you watching the video. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below, and we'll try to get back to you on that. Again, we can't improve full lineups, but if you've got some questions about things, and always check back if there's any major announcements like games canceled, pitchers changed, things like that. We try to throw some notes in half an hour before lock. Doesn't happen every slate, but if you see like there's a bunch of news and wondering like how we're going to pivot or change, check back and see if anybody else asked the question and we answered it, or maybe we'll throw some information out there, or just ask us the question and we'll try to get back to you to help you out before lock on that one. So, or you can always hit me up at MegaRuler31 on Twitter. My DMs are open, and if these videos help you, you can help us back by liking the video, subscribing to our channel. We just cleared 4,200 users and continue to climb. The goal is to get to 5,000. I'd love to get it by the end of baseball and NASCAR season, but maybe, if we just get to 45 and then try next year to get to the 5K mark, that would be awesome too. But just all 4,200 plus of you who have watched our videos and subscribed to our channel and liked our videos and continue to support us, it just drives us more and more, the team here at FSi, to continue to put out this content for you, to try to help you win money and stay in the game in DFS. So thank you for all that you do, watching us, liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, and sharing with your friends. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, then there's in the description of the video is the link to our website to come check us out, see what our packages are and things like that, if you want a deeper analysis of all these sports. Because for we try to do like this slate, but if there's multiple slates during a day, we cover that. If they're bigger slates, and then we always give you like the tiers. We give you all the showdowns and different information there. And we have like McKinley and I are in the Discord chat answering questions all the time. So appreciate all of you who have subscribed to that. Also, seeing a lot of new people come in this year, and it's been really awesome. So I'm MegaRuler31. Good luck in your contest today, and hopefully no other issues, that these games play out on an exciting night for baseball. Got a NASCAR race today at noon also. Did a video for that. So if you've never done fantasy NASCAR, I break it down. I give you my thoughts on every single driver, whether a cash play, a GPP play, a fade. I give you projected ownership. I give you some projections. I give you some data on course, race, track history, current form, average running position, similar tracks. So, I do a pretty extensive breakdown for that. So check out that on our YouTube page also. So have a great Monday. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.